I'm kind of bummed that this one doesn't start with a skit.
Yeah.
Is that...
Maybe we're just naturally funny enough.
Yeah, maybe this in itself is going to be like so hilarious. People are going to be like, oh, they're not doing a joke, which in itself is the joke. Oh. It's like an anti-joke, but without putting any of the effort in.
I like that.
To make the anti-joke.
That's good. Naturally hilarious.
So hey bro, did I catch the yawn? Hey bro, how's it going?
Good man, how are you?
Yeah, so good.
Welcome back, good to have you.
Oh, thanks you for having me. So, do we have to like re-intro ourselves every time?
I mean, maybe for the first couple.
Yeah, and I think for anyone who's picking this up, especially if they pick this up now, we can be dicks about it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey everybody, I'm John. I am John.
And I am not that person.
Yep. Ha! Man, I really hope that people listen to this and it's just a fucking mess. And they're like, why are you guys laughing? Like,
What's
is it?
funny?
Yeah, where is the joke? That's the point. It's the anti-joke. It's a callback joke to the anti-joke. For fuck's sakes.
This whole podcast will be one anti-joke.
So,
performance art.
I love it. It's living performance
art.
Oh my god. It's so 2019.
Hashtag meta.
Hashtag metal. Because I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. See, that's the difference between an anti-joke and a bad joke.
What, the apology?
Exactly that. So I hope you guys have learned a lot. Thank you so much for listening. So we are still sans a stinger. One stinger.
What's a stinger?
A stinger's like a jingle, but it's shorter. So a jingle will be like ba-ba-da-ba-ba, animus, whereas a stinger will be like animus.
That noise.
I think it's changed since last time as well. I feel like it's just like a week's more cigarettes in. Just animus, yeah.
We should get people to call in with their animus stinger.
Oh, that'd be fucking amazing. So we established last time that if you want to actually like send us a voice message, it's anchor.fm/animus. I got it right that time.
ANIMUS.
Yeah, spelling.
Which rolled off the tongue and I didn't have to think about.
So it's a little bit too easy, right? I feel like we've smashed the SEO on that one.
We should change the name. Animus 5374.
Like proper like MySpace username, just like Animus 199608 XOXO. I love ? But yeah, I forgot what I was talking about.
Yeah, no, me too.
Nothing personal. Yeah, welcome back. I was going to count that down and I just pressed go, so I hope you're ready.
All I heard was 3, and then it was like, okay, we're ready to go.
Cool. So, new week, new us.
Yep.
Love that.
Hashtag fresh start.
Yep. All over again. Yeah. What have you been up to?
Not a lot. Catching a lot of Pokemon.
Yeah.
I had a mostly unsuccessful raid day yesterday.
I
mean, I did the thing, but I just took forever to do the thing.
It was a bit rough. So it was the Water Doggo raid day, and yeah, we bounced around 7 gyms. We're going to talk about this like Pokemon Go revival in a bit, but like, yeah, we bounced around 7. It was me, you, and your lady friend who you keep pretending that you want to live with instead of me, which is really weird. That joke's gone on for way too long now.
If you need a key for the house, man, just ask. It's all good.
Honestly, I feel like this has been a long time coming. I had to wait 4 years for the podcast, so I assume in 4 years' time I'm getting an envelope just saying it's official now. We're there. So it was me, you, and Lauren, and Lauren's phone was just not having it.
Absolutely not. It was just like, grow up, Pokemon's for kids.
So of the 7, like her GPS knew where she was for 2 of them, and of those 2, how many did she like sink the doggo in the ball?
100%.
100%. Both times, just in it, just sent it, caught it, boom. She's like, what's the fuss about? Yeah. She was like level 14.
Yeah,
like
that's a very Lauren thing to do as well. To sort of like kind of half-heartedly approach something and then just smash it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very Lauren thing to do. To just kind of like not really be particularly focused on a task and still be utterly incredible at it. I don't mean that in like a blowing smoke way. I just mean she's a dick. It's really frustrating.
Just intuitively fantastic at stuff. I fucking hate people like that.
No, it sucks.
Just talented folk. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's Pokemon. It could have been like, oh, she's scaled Everest on the first attempt.
No, this is what she gets. This is So some people can paint the Sistine Chapel, but she knows how to catch Pokemon, and that means that she's won the life lottery. Yeah. How did you do, bro?
Badly.
Yeah.
1 out of 7.
1 out of 7. But at least those GPS problems. So that's what it was, wasn't it?
That's what it was.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I'm not a pro Pokemon Go player, and I play it because it was a big part of my childhood, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And loads of people at my office play it, and everyone in my band plays it, and it's good.
Yeah, you're a joiner. That's what it is.
I was OG. I was like first week account, like all
on
about
it.
that. Yeah, 2016, when Planet Earth just very, very briefly found world peace.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
That
was like
my
the best time.
Like I can imagine, like Kim Jong-un was just sort of like people. His advisors going to him like, "Do you wanna fuck shit up this week?" And he's like, "Dude, I'm trying to fucking catch this goddamn Spearow right now. Can you just chill for a second?" Like it was blissful.
Yeah,
it was really good. But now the tone of this would suggest that I'm unsympathetic of the fact that you had some difficulty catching your doggo. But there's another event going on in Pokemon Go right now with Pokemon called Rayquaza, and like he's rare. Like, in the main series games, he's like second best attacker or special attacker. I don't know. I'm not as clued up as I make other people believe. But Rayquaza's a cool dude. How have you been doing with your Rayquaza raids, my dude?
Very well.
Very, very
better
well.
than you.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Yeah.
That's all good.
Yeah. So yeah, like again, it's the case that it was the 3rd raid that you tried ever. Yeah, got that shiny Rayquaza. So I think that was the day our friendship ended.
Yeah, one of them.
yeah. And I think for anyone who's listening to this is like, I do not give a shit about Pokemon Go. Like a large group of our friends were in the same boat, and then for whatever reason, in the last month or so, it's just back. It went on hiatus for like 3 years, and it's like, Team Rocket here, everyone get together. Yeah.
We all got together to save the world, despite the fact that it's a video game.
Yeah, exactly that. It was the case that when people were just playing it as a game, it was like, okay, this has lost its appeal now. But then as soon as, the call to arms went out there, like, Team Rocket has to be stopped, everyone was like, okay, I've trained for this.
It's like a military draft.
Yeah.
I've got to go. It's just one of those things.
The guitarist in our band, Migueli, hates everything. Like he has this thing every now and again where if he's decided that something isn't cool, he will let you know, and he's back on board. It's really weird. But yeah, we've been back on the Pokemon Go hype. I genuinely, if you're if you were super done with it, give it another go, and then we'll hit up Niantic, try and get that sponsored segment.
Can you imagine?
That'll be so good, bruh.
So what about you? What have you been up to?
I got a new bed.
You did get a new bed, yeah.
I've been talking about my new bed loads because. So
you talked more about your new bed than you did about going to Japan.
Yeah,
that's an actual
genuine
fact,
thing. Yeah, it is one of those things where, like, I've been an adult for some time, but there are certain adult things that just catch me well off guard. Like, I've had the same bed for fucking ages, and it was time. That thing had its time. What I didn't realise was beds are fucking expensive, man.
Yeah, right. It's something you just lay down on.
Yeah, so it's financially crippled me for the month. So it's my conversation topic because I've got to get some mileage out of this fucking thing. Yeah. So yeah, I got a new bed. I've been playing this fucking app. Well, I think this is what this week's episode is going to be about, is apps. Because playing an app called Honkai Impact 3rd, which is just anime girls running around blowing shit up. And it's great.
It's also grammatically incorrect.
What? Why?
Like the third, maybe.
The third Honkai Impact.
Yeah.
You should hit him up. I can't remember if it's a Chinese developer or a Korean developer, but you should just be like, did you fucking Google Translate? What's happening here?
Learn to English.
So good, though. The problem is, and we've sort of talked about this before, is that the majority of mobile games, I'm explaining this like people don't know. Mobile games are funded through microtransactions. That's the deal. Like, free game, buy the thing in the game, ta-da. And I'm terrible. Like, in that world, these games are kept afloat by something called whales. And whales are not your people who spend the 79p or 99p. They're the people who drop stupid money, because that's like the big business model. It's the case
confession time.
It is a problem. So, like, if I'm playing a game for like a year or 2 years or something, I will probably spend more on a mobile game than I will on like a AAA title. And it's like, it's bad. It's real bad. Because it's not even like you get a leg up. I'm just the kind of person that's like, there's a fucking like hour-long cooldown. No. So yeah, between the bed and this one app, I'm poor now, and that's what I've been doing this week, John. Been rinsing my long-term prospects on 3D anime girls on my new bed.
That's a bucket list item, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Went to Japan, didn't happen, so let's do it when I came back.
That's fair.
Cool.
So what have you been watching?
My bank account go down? Are we not? I'm just gonna, like I say, have to rinse this because that's Canon Busters. I've been watching Canon Busters.
Cool. What is Canon Busters?
Canon Busters. I can't remember the dude's name. It's LaShawn something. I watched a documentary on Netflix called Into the Anime, which was literally, I thought was going to be an hour long.
It was garbage, by the way. Sorry.
Have you seen it as
well?
Yeah,
no, it's trash. I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated the 20 minutes I watched and then I turned it off.
It's fucking terrible. So I kind of thought it was going to be an end-to-end, like, this is how anime's made. I've been into this medium for a while. I know how anime's made, but I just kind of wanted to see whether or not there's any voice actors I know, if there was like any studios that I've got any kind of like kinship with, just anything. I just wanted to just immerse myself for an hour. It was me and Miguel sitting down and watching it. I thought I could drag him into the creative side of anime a bit, so that I'd have more people to talk to and with about the shit that I care about that's kind of lame. Anyway, so watched it. It's just an ad. It's an hour-long ad. It's so fucking terrible. It is some lady who is in no way... She's effectively, it's a documentary filmmaker, and she's posing it in this question of what is anime. Like, fucking Google it. There you go. Saved you an hour.
She sort of felt... The whole thing sort of felt like she'd been asked to approach a subject she didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And rather than doing the research beforehand, I feel like she just pressed record. I'm like, hope this lands.
It's the podcast format. It's like, I wonder what's going to happen. Like, we don't know how this episode's going to end. There is no structure. But it's like loosely tied together with her saying like, oh, I haven't prepared for this, and I was hoping they'd answer the question, but they didn't. It's like, then why fucking put it in? Yeah, it's fucking terrible. But one of the segments on it had LaShawn, and he was talking about his anime, and I think he's American, and he's sort of bringing in loads of different influences. So some of them are anime influences, some of them sort of, there's a very strong like cowboy theme into it, so like old school Western influences. It's cool, but it's not anime. It's not anime as I perceive anime. Like, anime's got like this feeling to it. It's fucking lame, but it's kind of got this thing where it's usually there's certain themes in anime. Usually explores certain parts of human stuff. I really want to get like super deep into it, but I'm trying to dial it back so like this doesn't get too intense.
I'll get the Kleenex.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Man, that could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, for the tears, because it's an emotionally difficult subject. Anyway, it feels a bit more Americanized. I wouldn't say it's great. It's okay. There's some like really cool sequences in it. I just don't know if it's got the heart of the kind of animes that I love. But that's what I'm watching. Canon Busters. I'm like 5 episodes in. Some really cool sequences. Definitely not like, if I was going to recommend an anime, it wouldn't even cross my mind. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, they I know in that documentary they covered very briefly Castlevania.
Yep.
And the way she was talking about it was like some kind of snuff film. Like she was talking about like it was the most extreme thing that had ever been on television. It was just kind of like, bruh, like what? It's like Tom and Jerry level violence. Like, yeah, okay, it's a bit gory, but it's also like
there's a sequence where I think it was actually Into the Anime where like some dude's eye gets popped out. And I'm sort of looking at it like, yeah, like saying that out loud, your reaction to it is probably gonna be like, ugh, and it is a bit ugh, but it's not even like Hellsing Ultimate, which is like that's not considered to be a gory anime at all, but there's some messy bits in it. But it's done by the same dude who did the Bootleg universe. Is that something you're familiar with at all?
Nope.
So basically, I don't know the guy's name. He's a bit much for me, but he like takes franchises and creates his own little spin-off for them. So he did one with Power Rangers, and it's really fucking good. If you search Bootleg Universe, Power Rangers, if you were like a Power Rangers fan, then honestly, it's something like 10 minutes long. It's got Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica in it. It's cool. It's like there's a little recommendation piece. Isn't
That's
that
good.
Nice? So go on, mate. What have you been watching?
Oh, just that that anime. The
anime.
Yeah, it's good.
It's all cartoons with you.
Always, yeah. Apparently my child. So, it's taken me 28 years to watch Neon Genesis, and it's amazing. And we briefly earlier touched on why, in our long friendship, you've never been like, brother, watch the damn show.
Yeah.
It's every episode I watch gets better, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and it's done things that I didn't think it would do. And there's little bits where I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird, but it is without a doubt my favourite anime series I've ever watched.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's big.
I love it. I just think fucking amazing. And I'm sure there's like actual like proper anime hipsters out there like, nerd. But
gotta watch it with the original Japanese dub for round one. You haven't even seen the true end yet. Like, how do you know if you love it?
Yeah. So right now, I think it's amazing. I'm on episode 14 and it's great.
So what did you think it was going to be?
Big ass robots, less teenagers kind of being angsty at each other.
Yeah.
Maybe not angsty, but just like there's a lot of temper tantrums, and I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, like it's the quintessential like coming of age, like growing up's tough, especially when your dad's a bit of a dick and you got to deal with giant robots and stuff. There's so much, and there's so much that we can't really talk about yet because a huge part of Evangelion is where it goes, and then the kind of controversy is the wrong word, but the bit of a mess that it becomes when you start going to the sort of sprawling endings. Like in a few podcasts time, we're going to go fucking in on Evangelion. But what's really weird for me is because I've started rewatching it as well. Is it's one of those shows that I watched as a kid. So it was like, I say kid, I'm using kid loosely. There was that and Tekka Man, which is why I fucking like Tekka Man Blade and Neon Genesis Evangelion are the reasons that I fucking love my big robots. I say that, I'm sure Power Rangers genuinely was an influence in there. But that was... And
something else. No other big robots in your childhood?
Not I can think of, no. You got anything?
Sure?
Yeah,
no? Sure?
Yeah.
Nothing?
Oh, did Mask Rider have big robots in it? Yeah, like fucking Mecha is my fucking jam. But
your Instagram handle?
My Instagram handle's Mikey Dies First, Mikey Sujinku. Oh shit! we were leading to that Mecha 51 joke, but actually my original Instagram handle was Death Scythe, which is the name of a fucking Gundam.
Oh,
bruh, love giant.
We landed where I wanted to land.
Oh man, I love giant robots. But what's weird is because I watched it when I was so much younger, rewatching it now, they redubbed it. Like the English dub is not the original English dub.
Oh shit!
And I have not noticed.
Oh no.
That's weird for me. But it's because the one of the big things with Evangelion was the fact that the licensing and the distribution was just fucked. It's one of the reasons why it became such a big thing over here. It's just. I was going to use a very, very naughty word there, but it was really difficult to get your hands on, which is why it was a huge deal when Netflix were like, "Oh yeah, we've just got that." Everyone was like, "You what?
Yeah.
You sorry, huh?"
Like, if anyone was going to get it.
Yeah, like we just the Ark of the Covenant. That's what you're after. Yeah, you want the Holy Grail, didn't you? Yeah, we just figured we'd get that. You didn't.
It's one of those shows that I've heard so much about.
Yeah,
but it's never like crossed my path. I've just heard the name.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm so surprised being this far in that none of my friends have been like, you actually no, I lied, Jimmy, who you will hear a lot about, recommended to me, but I wanted something to watch whilst I was in the office, and he was like, don't watch it in the office. And now I kind of get it.
Yeah, like
I wouldn't really consider it like NSFW, but you probably wouldn't want your boss to walk past.
It's strong symbolism, and it's the case that continues.
Yeah.
So yeah. There's. I don't want to go too deep into it, but the Ava itself and the representation and the things that you can draw out of it. There's a few bits and pieces where, again, without going into, it's very difficult to talk about without going into it. But like, there's a few bits that are a bit like. That's Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah.
The thing that fucks me up is how quickly this time starts counting down.
Yeah, 100%.
Because like the intention-ish is like a vague intention. We're not going to like hold ourselves or anyone else to it. Why would we hold someone else to it? Why did I say that? This is how the time gets burned through. But the intention is for these to be about half hour. Seems like a nice number. There's not a huge commitment for you guys, and like we don't actually get on that well. So spending more time than that together it's a bit rough, to be honest. There's also a mild sequel to episode 1 where there's more bodies being moved upstairs. It's not a big deal.
So loud.
The thing, I'm really worried that in like a few weeks' time that these clips will be played back in court. Well, it's like they're talking about it as it's happening. No, it's the alibi. It's the alibi.
Ooh, we're downstairs.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So we're burning through this.
We are. Which is good.
Yeah. What other topics did you want to cover this week? Is there anything that you were like, dude, let's talk about this thing?
No, I mean, I can happily riff for ages on how good that fucking show is.
It's so fucking good.
So good. But no, not really. I have no video games consuming my life at the moment, which is actually weird. And I think it's like the Netflix effect. And by the Netflix effect, I mean like, if you were to walk into, say, Blockbuster, or like the tiny video shop we had in our little hometown, there might be like, I don't know, like maybe 15 titles that stood out to you.
Yeah.
And you might be like, okay, I'll just grab that one. And I mean, I'm just showing our age now by actually mentioning a video rental store. But anyway.
You mean Amazon Prime Video?
Yeah, that's what I was getting. Do you remember Love Film?
I remember Love Film, yeah. Is that even... What happened?
Is that not Amazon Prime now?
Oh my god, it is, yeah. It is, yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, well, you were in the store, so you were gonna rent something.
Yeah.
But now I feel like with like Netflix, like you have access to probably like between Now TV, Amazon Prime, and Netflix, and then like the Xbox store, you could probably access like 10,000 films in a night, and you can never land on anything. And I feel like video games at the moment are doing the same thing. So like when I was a kid, I had my N64 and I had my GameCube when I got older, and then eventually I had the Xbox. And when I had my N64 and GameCube, like I had a few games, but it was still like enough games I could hold in my hands.
Yeah.
Like so, and I completed and played the shit out of every single one of those games. But now I've probably, between like the free downloads that Xbox very kindly gives you and the Xbox Game Pass, got access to like 200 titles.
Yeah.
And I'm not playing fucking one of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing, Spotify as well. Like you kind of look at your CD changer, your like stack of CDs. You're like, oh, I'm listening to this one today. But like on Spotify, it's just there's so much.
Yeah.
And I really am desperate to get into a video game. And I half started The Witcher 3, which I was highly recommended by everyone I know. And I just don't really like it.
Yeah. I don't know why. Like I'm not big into
horses.
Yeah, like fantasy games just do very little for me. Like it's really weird because it's like we're not talking about Sword Art Online today, but I'll pin in that one. But there's a couple of Sword Art Online games which I enjoy, which are fantasy games, but they're fantasy games based in a technologically advanced world, and then I'm bought in. But if it's like a straight fantasy game, I cannot be fucked. like at all.
Dudes in straw hats and sandals.
Yeah, which is really strange because when I like growing up, one of the first games that made a big impact on my life was Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. That's straight up a fantasy game.
Yeah.
So I don't know what has happened over the years that's made me go like, nah, elves are for nerds. I'll take your point about too much choice though. There is a study, or I can't remember what it is, but effectively it was just basically saying if you're presented with two options, then you're more likely to make a purchase than if you're presented with 20. Because if it's 2, then you pro-con one against the other. If it's 20, you're overwhelmed, you just won't do it. And I'm in the same boat. Like, in terms of games, I have so many games that I've started, and I mean like started, I'm like an hour in, and I've been like, that was cool, I know enough about that now, I'll put it down. Like Persona 5 is one that I really want to get into, and I really was enjoying, and then I was just like, I better do nothing with my time instead. That's better. But music's been a real fucking issue for me lately. I'm listening to the same 5 albums. It's getting it's getting problematic. John knows this better than anyone. I don't think I've talked to many other people about it. There's a Japanese band which is a sort of one producer / musician and one vocalist called, I think it's Yorushika, Yorushika, if you want to search it, because I think I said it very, very wrong. I'm listening to their latest album on fucking loop. Listening to a lot of Post Malone because I'm a terrible person. The Weeknd. Like, probably not bands that I think people assume that I go home and I listen to Necrostistic Goat Torture and Mule. Like, I think the assumption is that people in metal bands listen to metal. I
like the fact that no one except the 2 people in this room are going to know who that first band is or why you said those words.
It's not a big deal.
You will never know.
I fucking love that band name though. It's just so good. It rolls off the tongue. But yeah, me, John, and the other people in the band that we're in have a monthly playlist, and there's a couple of reasons for it. One is because gives us something to fucking post about. 2, which is the primary driver for us, was always like sharing what we're into. So we actually because I can find it really difficult to discover new bands because there's so much noise, and that's helpful too. But also, like, a big bit for me is to actually listen to diverse music rather than falling into the musical rut. I find, I don't want to fucking call anyone like Hobbit out, but like I find that it's so easy to listen to the same stuff over and over again that you just kind of get lost in that groove, and then like I don't want to name any Hobbits at all, but one of the things that comes up every month is like, but I haven't got any different stuff that I'm listening to, and I feel like screaming at him like, that's the fucking point. That's definitely a thing.
Yeah, we actually put sounds quite arrogant, but when we're on tour, we tend to put the playlist on because suddenly you've got 4 other people's music tastes that you kind of have to digest, and we really don't share a lot of favourite bands in this matter. I don't think if you were to listen to us or you would kind of talk to us, that there would be one unifying band that was like, oh, we want to sound like Slayer, or we want to sound like Bring Me the Horizon or Tool or anything like that. I don't think there's a single band where we're just like, yeah, no, that's our favourite band.
Yeah.
And I think that shows in the music, but I think that also probably surprised a lot of people. And again, I think that's another reason to showcase the playlist, because I think when you make heavy music, there's this assumption that that's what you listen to.
Yeah.
But I feel like if all we did was listen to like death metal and slam and spiky logos, that we probably wouldn't make very good music. And I mean, you can help yourself to your opinion on our band.
We make shit songs.
But yeah, I think if you if all we listened to was like, I don't know, like heavy music or super fast technical music, then I think that's all we would make.
Yeah.
And I think it would be very, very kind of top level. I don't think it would be particularly interesting.
Yeah.
But the fact that when you listen to our podcast, you've got 1950s swing music.
The playlist. This is the podcast.
Sorry. So many things to promote.
It's just technology today.
Yeah. So yeah, when you listen to the playlist, when you listen to the podcast about the playlist, yeah, there's 1950s swing music like Elvis. You've also got stuff like kind of mid 2000s kind of skate punk. So you got like Alkaline Trio. I think there's some Yellow Card in there. There's some Millencolin. I think all of those bands have definitely been on Tony Hawk soundtracks.
Yeah,
but then you've also,
yeah, I was going to say you can draw dots and actually see how these things happen pretty easily.
You've also got really, really heavy bands. You've got kind of like K-pop and J-pop and kind of like bands that most of us in this band probably wouldn't listen to. So it's quite interesting to hear. But then you've also got kind of more, I use the word lightly, commercial stuff. So you've got Post Malone, you've got the greatest song ever written, like Old Town Road, which is one of Mikey's favourites. We will go into that another time.
Yeah.
And it's good. And I feel like you should be varied. I don't think you should. I feel like if you set your sights on one sound as an artist, as like specifically as a musician or a songwriter, then you will just wreck your chances of following that path well, because the bands you listen to, say your favourite band in the world is Killswitch Engage, and there are 100 bands out there that stole the Killswitch sound. If the guys in Killswitch only listened to those kind of bands, they wouldn't sound like Killswitch.
Yeah.
They sound like Killswitch because of the different bands they listen to. Yeah, and I think that's why they did a Dio cover, because no one else could pull off a Dio cover the way they did. Absolutely. And it's like their most popular track.
I think that's kind of the best way to put it, is Killswitch isn't listening to Killswitch.
Yeah.
It is very much the case that if it was the case, I think the expectation is, because of the type of music that we're making, that we're going to be sitting down and listening to just like Parkway. I think like bands like Parkway and While She Sleeps, I feel like they're the kind of bands that people expect us to listen to. And if we did, all we'd end up doing is just ripping off their riffs. Yeah. And that's not something we're into. Like, again, in terms of like the lyrical content, I think we're pretty stereotypical for our genre, in the like, you can do it. That's the Hero's verse sort of summed up. Hey, the bad thing happened, but you can do a win. But they don't come from other metal songs, and they come from like personal experiences and anime. It all comes from anime.
Not a lie.
But it is the case that those influences, again, aren't being drawn from spending all day, every day, listening to the other bands in our genre. We can appreciate it, this kind of stuff we're making, but I feel like your brain would just explode if it was just 358 riffs all day.
I like that. Yeah, absolutely. I just don't think you'd be creative, and I feel like as soon as you get into that box of like, oh man, like I love the new, I don't know, maybe Bring Me's not the right. So like Architects are like a really big band in our scene, and really at the moment probably the biggest band in our scene, and are hugely influential to so many people, and are really, really good at what they do. And I feel like if all you did was tune your guitar to whatever tuning they use, and sat and listened to Holy Hell all day, then you would just make watered down riffs that no one would be interested in, because for a fact that the dudes in Architects are not listening to like kind of other kind of tech metal kind of genty bands to get that sound. That it's just not. There's no way you would end up with an album that good if your only source of influence was other bands that sounded like you. Yeah, and I mean, I definitely don't want to turn this podcast into like a music podcast, but I think we all kind of know that in our little pocket there's quite a few, I don't want to say snakes, but there's adorable reptiles knocking about, and it is the case that if you were just churning out what sounded like other people's riffs, you wouldn't fucking last a second, because everyone would be all over you. So a big part of being yourself is allowing yourself to enjoy what you truly enjoy, not just what you're supposed to enjoy. And I don't know, I feel like you're your best self when, if something gives you that feeling, that feeling, you just latch onto it, whether or not you're supposed to like it. I think we're supposed to like metal, so it's something that we never limit ourselves on that. We'd never be like, well, we're supposed to, so we're not gonna. But equally, we're not gonna just be like, well, not supposed to be listening to gangster rap. I love me some gangster rap. Right. I think the weird thing about this whole half an hour format is I feel like we've just started. But we've
again, we're gunning for 30-ish minutes, so we have to wrap it up. I definitely feel like we got on the soapbox, which was what we set out not to do.
Absolutely.
Like, you mentioned the fact, episode 1, we got into politics, which we were definitely not doing.
We said the B word, like, straight away.
Yeah, like, no fucking pause. And this time round, we're talking about how we think people... It feels like we're saying how people should approach their music taste, and that's really not what certainly not what I intended. You can say whatever you want, but like, I feel like all we're trying to say is just be yourself, and you make your best stuff if you're yourself, which unfortunately does mean that what Hero's been churning out, like our band, what you've been getting really is our best stuff.
Yeah. That's a hell of a confession.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, none of that's B word.
Oh no. But I think we've hit our 30 minutes.
I reckon so.
So this is us for another week.
I think so.
Thank you very much for listening. Please let us know sort of what your thoughts are, because obviously we've had this opportunity to rant and ramble about the stuff that we're listening to, and how it influences us. But part of me kind of hopes that some people listen to that and go, no, that's wrong. I really want to hear what the no, that's wrong sounds like. So again, if you want to drop in an audio message, then it's anchor.fm/animus.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And that's us for another week.
Peace.
Take it easy. Bye.